So as we all know, Charlie Kirk passed. Before he passed, I didn't really care for him. Not because I didn't agree with his worldviews, because I didn't. Just that I didn't think he was good. You know, like, I can respect someone and find someone entertaining who I disagree with vehemently if they're good at what they do. So, for example, Destiny. There are a lot of things that I don't agree with Destiny on. But Destiny's really smart. Take away whatever you want to take from him. He's very intelligent. And he's one of those people that is so smart that they can debate a point that is wrong, but they're smart enough to make a good argument for it. He's one of those people. Charlie Kirk, not so much. And in this video here, he is going to refute the idea of reparations. And it's just weak. It's just weak.
Hey, my name's Blair. Just got a question for you here. How do you feel about the Black community receiving reparations?
I'm against that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, why so?
Well, first of all, what is the Black community? So, for example, do you mean like recent immigrants from Haiti or Nigeria?
I do not. No.
Okay, for sure. So you're meaning like ancestral descendants of slaves.
Correct.
That could be proven with documentation.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay. So to be consistent, do you believe that other groups that have been mistreated in America should also receive reparations?
What are those other groups?
Well, they're not necessarily by America, but let's just take one. Jewish Americans, right?
Okay.
They almost got eliminated in the Holocaust. Should they receive reparation?
Jewish people did receive reparations for the Holocaust. If I'm not mistaken, I can do a quick Google search right now. Did Jewish? Yes, Jewish people received substantial reparations for the Holocaust. Surely he knows that, though. Those are his guys.
Not from us.
Okay, not from us.
Not from the United States, that is.
Okay, so here's my view, and I want to hear yours,
okay,
which is that I did not own slaves, and you were not a slave.
Correct.
Right, so we are individuals, and therefore we cannot be held accountable or should receive something from something that didn't happen to us or something we did not do. That is a basic law of justice, that I can't be held accountable for something that somebody looked like me did, and you should not benefit from something that somebody you were related to. Now, you'll probably say systemic racism and how that passed down to generations. Happy to address that. The problem with reparations, though, is basically what you're saying is, I'm going to take money from Charlie Kirk for something he didn't do and give it to a group of something, to somebody of something they also didn't do. For what reason? How is that just?
So not so much how is it just, but there are those arguments that says because of what happened in the past, this group of people have been negatively affected from this nation's crimes against humanity to that certain group of people. And that's how we see it, or how some people see it, if you will.
Okay, sure. But I will say that even if there is some truth to that, which I wouldn't even be willing to grant very much, because Black America was doing incredibly well before the not incredible. They were pacing to be even richer than white America, is that we must look through the question of, is it just and moral to take from one group, especially first and second generation immigrants that had nothing to do with this. So think about it. Your tax base would be taxing, like, if anyone here is Irish or Polish and your family came 100 years ago, we would be taxing people that had nothing to do with it. And I'll go a step further. My family fought on the Union side of the Civil War, right? So you're going to be taxing Charlie Kirk, whose descendants fought to free the slaves, to go give money to people that were descended, from slaves. So what is a way that we could try to help all communities? Here's maybe we can find some common ground, right? Instead of reparations.
Sure.
Is that we need to break the cartel of public sector teacher unions, allow school choice to occur, and make it easier for people of all backgrounds, but specifically Hispanic and Black individuals and young kids to have a quality education, because a good education in K through 12 is one of the most assured ways that they'll be able to succeed later in life. Secondly, we need to put fathers back in the home.
Yeah, I agree with that.
70% of Black kids are raised without a stable father in the country. So if we can find common ground on that, I think that would go a lot further than just giving cash for people that happen to be related to something evil that happened a little while ago.
This is honestly insulting to my intelligence and yours as well. Why the hell would you have to be taxed in order for Black people to get reparations? Just print more money. That's what America does. Have the American public been taxed more to fund Israel? No, they haven't. They found a way. Just print the money. This idea that reparations is going to negatively impact white people because it's going to come out of their pocket, that's stupid. Why do people even think that's a thing? America is the only country on the planet that prints its own money. Just print more. I find it so odd that the conservatives they refuse to concede the idea that slavery, segregation has a negative impact on black people today. It's so weird. Oh, black people were on pace to become richer than white people when? Which year? You can't just throw out a vague statement like that and not give us any details. Which year? When was this happening? Black people in America have been poor since they arrived. They were freed as slaves into poverty. They were stealing, doing things because they had to survive. So you created the prison system. The privatized prison system, as we know it today, was created specifically for black Americans. Is it a surprise that black Americans today are disproportionately in jail and still among the poorest demographics in the US? Is that a surprise? 300 years later? No! Because people don't come out of poverty, unfortunately. It's not a thing that happens very often. You're born working class, guess what? You're most likely going to die working class. That's kind of how it works. So this idea that it was a long time ago when it doesn't, that's bullshit. Black Americans only got the right to vote in 65. My mother was born in 56. There are still people today feeling the effects of that shit. This is my thing when it comes to reparations. And I said this on my members only. Slavery was not a unique experience. It wasn't. Black Americans, nobody will ever get reparations for slavery. Unfortunately, it's in the Bible. Niggas love the Bible, right? Slavery's in the Bible. God told the Israelites how to treat the slaves. The Bible, from what we know, is the oldest text, right? You can say it's not real, but what's in the text, the stuff in the text, you can trace that back to that time, right? Trace slavery back all the way to that time. It was normal then. So there's no reparations for slavery that's ever gonna happen. Because if the black Americans got reparations, the natives would have to get it. Then the Irish will be looking at, we should get reparations. And the Greeks and the Romans, the people in the Caribbean will be looking like, who's gonna pay us? Then, people looking at the African, and you enslaved my people, you should pay me. It's just never gonna happen. However, this is what I said on my members only. And I'm shocked that nobody has said this. I haven't seen anybody suggest this. Yeah, slavery was normal. It's not a unique experience. However, what was unique to black Americans and what they should get reparations for was the 100 years after slavery, segregation, because of their race. That never happened to anybody else. Nobody else in the world was segregated, oppressed, treated as second-class citizens because of the color of their skin. And that was done for 100 years. They released them as slaves, and they continued to oppress them for 100 years. In the imaginary world, I'm head of this shit, right? Or I'm advising whoever. I'd say, look, give us 100 years free education for all black non-felons from this day. What is the day? The 31st of December. So from today, for 100 years, that's the time where we were segregation, all that. Give us 100 years free education. Now, what does that mean? That doesn't mean that, we get to sleep on campus. No, that's just the classes. We get it for free. We get to go in for free. There's no argument. There's no debate. There's nothing anyone can say to counteract that. The problem is, I don't think a lot of black people will go for it because it doesn't benefit them, and people are naturally selfish. And I just don't think anyone's thought of it. I don't think it's a mainstream idea because people are stuck on slavery. It's unfortunate. Our African ancestors were sold by other Africans into slavery. Our ancestors who were slaves in Africa before they came over here. It's unfortunate, but that's what a slave trade is. They traded our African ancestors for like weapons and shit. They weren't captured. White people didn't just go in and just take them because the weak Africans couldn't do anything. No. They were sold. It was a fair trade. But people are stuck on the idea of reparations for slavery, and people want money. People want money, and it's just never gonna happen. Not because they can't do it, they just don't care enough to do it. They could do it. They could drop money on you just like how they dropped money on Israel, but they don't care enough to do it. You guys let me know what you think. 100 years free education as reparations. Is that something that you take? It might not benefit you, but in 100 years' time, I guarantee black Americans would be at the top. The amount of black nurses, the amount of black professionals, it'd be crazy.
This liquor got me in my zone. Now I'm blowing up your phone. Blowing weed, smoking the ozone. I just can't let this go. This liquor got me in my zone.